India, Indonesia and Philippines long-term pass holders barred. Myanmar kidnapping mastermind shot dead. Welcome to News at 10. I'm Brendan Lipal. Malaysia will block the entry of long-term pass holders from India, Indonesia and the Philippines starting from the 7th of September due to the sharp increase in positive COVID-19 cases in those countries. Senior Minister Security Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob today said the restrictions included 6 categories, namely those with permanent resident status, Malaysia My Second Home Program MM2H, expatriates including professional visit pass holders PVP and resident pass holders.
Dulu kita benarkan. Tetapi sekarang ni untuk ketiga-tiga negara ini juga kita tidak membenarkan. Expatriate. Semua expatriate termasuk EP1 profesional yang memegang PVP ataupun professional visit pass juga tidak dibenarkan.
Also blocked, he said, were couples to Malaysian citizens and their children as well as students from the 3 countries who wanted to return to Malaysia. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the government would also monitor the situation in other countries and had not ruled out the possibility that the same restrictions might be imposed on citizens of other countries experiencing a spike in cases. The senior minister, however, stressed that Malaysians returning from the 3 countries will be allowed home and stipulated SOPs will apply. Meanwhile, the senior minister said police arrested a record 778 people yesterday, including 600 nightclub and pub goers for flouting the Recovery Movement Control Order RMCO. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, who expressed concern over the decline in compliance with COVID-19 standard operating procedures, said of the total number arrested, 98 were remanded, 7 were granted bail, while 673 were slapped with compounds.
Ini saya kira merupakan jumlah yang terbesar dikenakan kompaun dalam satu hari selepas PKPP dilaksanakan. Ini menunjukkan bahawa keingkarannya bertambah. Mungkin rakyat telah pun merasakan bahawa PKPP sudah tidak ada, SOP tidak perlu dipatuhi. Jadi sebab itulah ramai yang dikenakan kompaun.
The senior minister said police had also decided to include local authorities during checks and raids at pubs, nightclubs and entertainment centres so that wider action could be taken against the premises. He added that the task force monitoring SOP compliance checked 63,125 premises, including places of worship, restaurants, hawkers, wet markets and pasar tani yesterday. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also said that the Targeted Enhanced Movement Control Order, or TEMCO, enforced in Aman Jaya, Kedah will continue until the 10th of September. He said when TEMCO was announced for Aman Jaya on the 28th of August, the government had been unable to decide when it would end. However, the senior minister said the special meeting of ministers has since determined the end date.
Sehingga hari ini, Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia telah pun membuat saringan swab test kepada 12,533 individu. Daripada jumlah keseluruhannya 22,360. Jadi dah lebih daripada 50%. Kita jangka dalam beberapa hari selesai semuanya disaring.
Dato Sri Ismail Sabri also urged residents from the affected areas to cooperate with authorities, as all within these zones must be screened for COVID-19 and will not be allowed to leave the affected areas, just as outsiders are barred from entering the areas under TEMCO. The TEMCO was enforced following a spike in COVID-19 cases attributed to the Tawa cluster that started in Kedah. On to the COVID-19 updates. Malaysia recorded 14 new COVID-19 cases today, bringing the total cumulative number of infections to 9,354 cases. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah also disclosed that another COVID-19 patient has died, bringing Malaysia's death toll from the disease to 128, or 1.37% of all cases. According to him, the death was an 80-year-old Malaysian woman who had lung cancer and high blood pressure. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said the woman was a case from the Tawa cluster, which has been detected in Kedah. Of the new cases, he said 5 were reported involving non-Malaysians returning from Ukraine, Pakistan, Indonesia and the Philippines.
Daripada 9 kes penularan di dalam negara, 5 kes adalah di kalangan warga negara Malaysia dan 4 kes adalah bukan warga negara.
He also said that 21 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours, with a total of 9,075 patients discharged since the COVID-19 outbreak began, or a 97% recovery rate. There are currently 151 active cases that are being treated at the country's health facilities. He said 5 patients are being treated at intensive care units, ICU, with 3 of them on ventilator support. A new COVID-19 cluster has been detected at a police lockup in Lahad Datu, Sabah, with 7 positive cases detected so far. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the Benteng Lahad Datu cluster was detected as a result of the screening of detainees at the lockup.
Kes positif COVID-19 kluster ini melibatkan 6 pendatang asing tanpa izin dan 1 warga negara Malaysia. Kesemua kes positif ini tidak bergejala dan telah dimasukkan ke Hospital Lahad Datu.
The health DG said a total of 50 people had been screened for the disease at the Lahad Datu District Police Headquarters lockup, with 43 testing negative so far. He also said that cleaning and disinfection exercises have been carried out at identified locations, adding that active case detection and the screening of close contacts are still being carried out. He said that the source of the infection is also being investigated. A Myanmar man believed to be the mastermind behind a spate of kidnapping incidents involving foreigners in Pulau Pinang was shot dead when he attacked police during a raid on a hut in the Paya Keladi oil palm plantation, Kepala Batas, early this morning. State Police Chief Datuk Sahabuddin Abdul Manan said that a police team raided the hut at 1:30 a.m. following a tip-off on a 25-year-old man who was on the wanted list for alleged involvement in the kidnapping of his fellow countrymen on the 14th August.
Suspek ada bersenjatakan parang cuba menyerang salah seorang daripada pegawai sebuan dan kita terpaksa melepaskan tembakan untuk mempertahankan dirilah. Dan suspek ini telah dikenal pasti dah dicam secara positif oleh mangsa dan juga rakan sejenayah.
Briefing reporters today, Dato' Sahabuddin said further investigation by the police also found a damaged United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees UNHCR card, and the police did not rule out the possibility that the card was fake. It was also believed that the man was the mastermind in the kidnapping incident, as well as several other similar cases involving foreigners, especially among Myanmar nationals in Pulau Pinang. Police arrested 5 local men and 6 Myanmar nationals, including a woman, aged 18 to 45, in a series of raids in Pulau Pinang and Kedah after they rescued the kidnapped victim on 19 August. He also said that police were currently tracking down another Myanmar man in his 30s, whose identity is yet to be ascertained, believed to be involved in the case which was being investigated under Section 3 of the Kidnapping Act 1961. Meanwhile, Datuk Sahabuddin said police smashed two online gambling call center syndicates with the arrest of 109 people in the northeast and Seberang Perai, Selatan districts last Saturday. The Seremban Coroner Court has been told that there was no foreign DNA found on French-Irish teenager Nora N. Corrins's body. The Chemistry Department's DNA Forensic Division Director Nor Aidora Saedon said that the result was based on the exhibits provided by the authorities. Nor Aidora, the sixth witness of the inquest to determine the cause of death of the teenager, said that the first exhibit was the swab test taken from one of Nora N's family members, while the second one was from her body, and the last one were the samples taken at the scene. She said this during her testimony before Coroner Maimona 8 today. When asked by Maimona what she meant by no foreign DNA being present, Nor Aidora explained that it is related to any foreign DNA on the body, either from swab, fingernail or hair that does not belong to Nora N. The inquest will continue until the 4th of September, with a total of 64 witnesses to be called to testify to assist in the investigation. Nora N, 15, went missing on the 4th of August last year, a day after she and her family arrived in Malaysia for a 2-week holiday at a resort in Pantai Negeri Sembilan, about 60 kilometers south of Kuala Lumpur. Her body was found 9 days later on 13th August near a stream in a hilly area, about 2.5 kilometers from the resort, following a massive search. A preliminary post-mortem report revealed that there were no criminal elements in Nora N's death and that the teenager had died of gastrointestinal bleeding due to prolonged stress and hunger. The inquest continues tomorrow. Government focusing on Sept to explore other FTA later. The government is currently focusing on Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership (RCEP) negotiations and will later look at other free trade agreements (FTAs), including the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership (CPT/PP). International Trade and Industry Minister MITI Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali said the government has been occupied with the RCEP for the last few months, adding that negotiations are at their final stage. Speaking to reporters after giving a special address at the Invest Malaysia 2020 Virtual Series 3 in Kuala Lumpur today, he said currently MITI is engaging with all the stakeholders because there are some issues that need to be addressed to protect the interests of domestic players and industries before the government decides to ratify the CPT/PP.
FTAs have benefited the Malaysian economy in terms of the market access, and also especially now under the current situation where we are facing major challenges after pandemic COVID-19. But at the same time, we also need to understand and appreciate the need and the challenges faced by our local and domestic industries. So we are engaging with them. We try to understand what are the needs before we formalize the CPTPP.
Earlier in his speech, Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin said that along with the gradual resumption of economic activities, economic performance in June 2020 has been picking up and the country is on track for a gradual recovery. He said Malaysia's total trade in June 2020 actually expanded by 2.2% to 144.78 billion ringgit, while exports bounced back with an increase of 8.8% to 82.82 billion ringgit. Malaysia will invest significantly in the latest generation of telecommunications and other technologies in the quest to achieve a high-income nation status. Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said as various industries adopt 5G, it could positively influence other industries' contribution rate to the gross domestic product (GDP) effectively, allowing the country to produce and manufacture more high-quality goods and services, ultimately benefiting the rakyat with improved earnings and affordability.
To date, we have 71 5G use cases demonstration led by the private sectors, namely Celcom, Digi, E.co, Maxis, Petronas, Telekom Malaysia, U-Mobile, YTL, and their ecosystem partners, consisting of digital solution providers, ministries and agencies, integrators and vendors. These use cases are demonstrated across 7 states, Kedah, Pahang, Penang, Perak, Selangor, Terengganu and Wilayah Persekutuan, with a total industry investment of RM131 million.
In his keynote address at the Invest Malaysia 2020 Virtual Series 3 in Kuala Lumpur today, Datuk Saifuddin said the government has extended the period of the 5G demonstration project 5GDP until the 31st of December. He said Malaysia is also expediting the improvement of connectivity for both fibre optic and 4G as a means to ensure that the 5G rollout will be done in an efficient and effective manner. Individuals in need of financing repayment assistance needs to respond immediately or go to their respective banks to confirm the extension of the moratorium offered to prevent a bad credit score. Deputy Finance Minister 2 Muhammad Shah Abdullah said the response from individuals and small and medium enterprises (SMEs) was still not as expected. Muhammad Shah in a statement today said the public and SMEs should not wait until the last minute to start negotiating and applying for financing assistance from the banks, as the banks need 1 to 5 days to process applications from individual customers and 3 days to 2 weeks from SMEs. Meanwhile, he said most banks had implemented the targeted moratorium extension and financing repayment flexibility program from the 7th of August. With only 29 days left to the automatic moratorium assistance, Muhammad Shah said borrowers do not have to worry because the flexibility given during this period will not be featured in the Central Credit Reference Information System report. Azizul Hasni Boni Bunyao wins SAM 100 Plus 2019 Top Awards. Stay with us. National track cycling champion Muhammad Azizul Hasni Awang and national powerlifter Boni Bunyao Anak Gustin were named winners of the 2019 Sports Writers Association of Malaysia SAM 100 Plus Best Athlete and Best Para-Athlete Awards respectively today. Both athletes took home a trophy and 10,000 ringgit cash in prizes each, presented by the Sports and Youth Minister Datuk Sri Rizal American in a ceremony held at Academy Badminton Malaysia in Bukit Kiara. Muhammad Azizul Hasni defeated several top athletes such as Farah N. Abdul Hadi, gymnast, S. Kisona, badminton, Julian Yi, ice skating, and Loh Chun Hao, wushu. The best achievement of the Terengganu-born rider last year was winning the World Series Track Championship in Cambridge last December by beating former world champions Shane Perkins and Matthew Kleitzer. Nicknamed as the Pocket Rocket Man, he also clinched the men's sprint gold medal at the 2019 Asian Track Cycling Championships in South Korea last year. This is the third time Muhammad Azizul Hasni was crowned SAM 100 Plus Best Athlete after receiving it in 2009 and 2017. Meanwhile, Boni's victory has broken the dominance of athletics after the 20-year-old Sarawak was crowned as the best para-athlete. He beat S. Suresh and Wiro Julin archery and Muhammad Ziyad Zulkifli athletics. Bonnie created history after he bagged up 2 gold medals at the World Para Powerlifting Championship in Nur Sultan, Kazakhstan last year. The SAM 100 Plus Award presentation ceremony also saw sports journalists won awards in 6 various categories. With that, we conclude News at 10. In our top story, India, Indonesia and Philippines long-term pass holders but effective 7th September. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. Till then, I'm Brendan Lepal. Thanks for watching. Good night.